Hello and welcome back to the Crime Reel. For today's true crime narration, we shall be looking at the case of Shannon Matthews, a 9-year-old girl from the United Kingdom who went missing in February of 2008. Shannon's story is well known in the UK, not just for the heartbreaking events surrounding the disappearance of this young girl, but also because of its shocking conclusion and the uncovering of the perpetrators involved. This case has sparked many debates on child welfare and the media's role in reporting and, at times, sensationalising such tragedies. I provide more details about this at the end of today's narration, and I would be interested to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Shannon was born on the 9th of September 1998 to Karen Matthews and Leon Rose. She had a troubled childhood marked by instability. Her mother Karen had 7 children, of which Shannon was the 4th. 4 of these children, including Shannon, lived with their mother, whilst the other 3 lived elsewhere. The household was chaotic, with issues of neglect, poverty, and limited supervision. Shannon also faced difficulties at school and was described as a shy and introverted child. Despite all of the challenges that she faced, Shannon's teachers and friends remember her as a kind-hearted and gentle girl. They recall her as being academically bright and showing potential despite her difficult circumstances in life. On the 19th of February 2008, Shannon went on a school outing to the Dewsbury Sports Centre swimming pool. When they returned to Westmore Junior School, the children were allowed to leave for the day and, rather than walking her usual route with friends, Shannon walked in a different direction. This was something that was out of character for the young girl. When Shannon did not return home after school, there was immediate concern amongst her family. By 7 p.m. that evening, she was reported missing by her mother Karen, and West Yorkshire Police swiftly launched an intensive search operation. Law enforcement officials, along with volunteers, scoured the area for any clues that could lead to Shannon's whereabouts. Her steps were retraced. An underwater search team was brought in to search the lake at Crow Nest Park, and a police helicopter was used in an attempt to find anything that would help them locate Shannon. As the temperature began to drop, fog hampered the search, and concern for Shannon's safety escalated still further. No trace of the little girl could be found, leaving both her family and the community in a state of panic. The search for Shannon would become one of the largest police investigations in West Yorkshire Police's history, involving over 200 police officers and a significant financial commitment of over £3.2 million. The local community pulled together to assist in the search in whatever way they could, including printing t-shirts and thousands of leaflets which were distributed around the local area. In tearful interviews, Karen pled for the safe return of her little girl, describing Shannon as her beautiful princess, and expressed immense anguish at her absence. A couple of days after Shannon vanished, there were reports that she had been spotted the day after she went missing. A witness stated that they had seen her at around 9:15 a.m. on Moorside Road on the 20th of February, just a couple of streets away from her home. Details of sightings on the day of her disappearance began to emerge, but a lack of CCTV footage of any such sightings hampered the search. The police learnt that Shannon had wanted to live with her estranged father and had talked of running away from home. Her father, Leon, had stopped his weekly visits to Shannon the summer before her disappearance, after problems with Karen's extensive family. Shannon had decided that she did not want to live in a chaotic household full of her half-siblings. Had Shannon run away? Had she been taken? No one could provide any answers, and as time passed, everyone began to fear the worst. But then, 24 days after her disappearance, a break in the case came, and the news that everyone had been waiting for arrived. Shannon had been found, and she was alive. She had been hidden in the base of a divan bed in a flat located less than a mile away from her family home. Relief in the community was soon replaced by horror when the true nature of the abduction began to unravel. It became apparent that Shannon's disappearance was down to a planned kidnapping hoax. It was soon revealed that Shannon had been hidden inside the house of Michael Donovan, the uncle of Karen Matthews' then boyfriend, 22-year-old Craig Meehan. It was on day 23 of the search that the police first became aware of Michael, someone who had previously been a regular visitor at Karen's home but had not been seen since Shannon vanished. The detectives decided to pay him a visit, but when they arrived there was no answer at his flat. They spoke to a downstairs neighbour, June Batley, who told them that she knew someone was in the flat upstairs as she could hear movement, including what she described as the tiny footsteps of a toddler. Knowing that Shannon had an unusual gait which resulted in her walking with tiny steps, the police knew that they had to get inside the flat. When they did, they discovered both Shannon and Michael hidden inside the bed base. Michael bit a police officer as he was dragged out of the bed and shouted, "Get Karen down here. We'd got a plan. We're sharing the money. £50,000. It emerged that Karen, Shannon's own mother, had played a central role in the events that unfolded. Investigations revealed that Karen and Michael Donovan had devised a scheme to stage Shannon's abduction, with Michael eventually finding Shannon. This was with the intention of claiming a reward that would be offered by the media, which he would then split with Karen. Whilst this came as a huge shock to the general public, those familiar with Karen had begun to have doubts regarding her behaviour. Friends and acquaintances noticed inconsistencies between her public persona and her private actions. While Karen portrayed herself as a desperate mother longing for her daughter's safe return, some noticed her seemingly carefree attitude and engagement in everyday activities when the police or press were not around. Karen's best friend at the time, Natalie Murray, recalled visiting Karen during the time that Shannon was missing, noting that it was like a normal day. Her and Craig were laughing and joking, playing computer games, like I'd just popped in for a brew. Even though the police had told Karen not to speak to the press, she conducted a press interview, clutching a teddy that didn't even belong to Shannon and referring to her as a princess, something which she had never previously done. When Karen was arrested, she told 5 different stories to the police, firstly blaming Michael and then other family members. When the case went to trial, the evidence presented painted a disturbing picture of a mother willing to deceive the entire nation for personal gain. It emerged that Karen had been drugging her daughter with temazepam for up to 2 years before the planned kidnapping. The judge described the kidnap plot as despicable, emphasising the severity of the crimes committed. Both Karen and Michael were found guilty of kidnap, false imprisonment, and perverting the course of justice, and were sentenced to 8 years in prison. However, when handing down the sentences, the judge went on to say, it must be doubtful whether Matthews and Donovan could have conceived or continued these offences without the assistance or connivance of others. Many believe that others must have conspired in the hoax, citing the low IQ of both Karen and Michael, but the police were never able to find enough evidence to charge anybody else in connection with Shannon's disappearance. Shannon, along with her 6 siblings, were placed under police protection and subsequently put into the care of new families. To ensure their safety and privacy, they were given new identities and lifelong anonymity orders. Karen served just half of her sentence before being released. She reportedly moved to the south of England to start a new life, but when her whereabouts became known, she changed her identity and moved away. Shannon will now be 24 years old, and we can only hope that she has been able to heal from the horrific ordeal that she was subjected to at the hands of the person who should have protected her the most. As mentioned at the start of this video, Shannon's kidnapping has sparked many debates on the media's coverage of such cases. Some reports have suggested that interest in Shannon's disappearance waned quite quickly, and even went so far as to state that the public weren't as interested in the case because Shannon had come from an impoverished council estate and was a member of a dysfunctional family. Certainly, a report in The Independent 2 weeks after Shannon's disappearance highlights many differences between the coverage of Shannon's case and the coverage of the disappearance of Madeleine McCann at the same stage of that investigation. As you are probably aware, Madeleine, the 4-year-old daughter of 2 doctors, went missing while on holiday in Praia da Luz, Portugal, in May 2007, 9 months before Shannon went missing. The contrast of news coverage at the equivalent stage of the 2 investigations is striking. What is beyond doubt in both of these cases is that they involve innocent young girls who both deserve any and all publicity which could do anything to help in the resolution of their case. This is in no way a comment that Madeleine received too much publicity, but is simply to demonstrate how little Shannon received in comparison. The Independent article dated 2nd of March 2008 stated that the reward for Shannon was £25,500, which was made up of £20,000 from the Sun newspaper, £5,000 from Huddersfield firm Joseph International, and an additional £500 from a local pensioner who was unable to help with the search but wanted to help in some way. 2 weeks after Madeleine's disappearance, the reward stood at £2.6 million, with numerous high-profile celebrity appeals and contributions. Dewsbury Moor, where Shannon lived, is an area of acute social deprivation, and many of the local people who found the media frenzy following Shannon's disappearance bewildering found the speed at which the media disappeared even more baffling. So what do you think? Is reporting of such cases inherently biased against the less wealthy, less eloquent, and less elegant? Does the media unfairly represent those with lifestyles that are deemed less worthy? Or was the reporting of 2 vastly different cases with different outcomes appropriate to the cases involved? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, I would be fascinated to hear them. That concludes today's case. For those of you that don't know yet, I'm delighted to tell you the channel has finally hit the 100,000 subscriber milestone. I made a small short video about it and will leave a link in one of the posts down below. Your support has been amazing and I'm so grateful to you all. Thank you for your help. Thank you for listening to The Crime Reel. Stay safe. Goodbye. Psst. There have been many documentaries and dramas made about the Shannon Matthews case. My personal favourite drama is The Moorside with Sheridan Smith in it. It was aired on the BBC channel. Goodbye.